Well, hey everyone, it's Andrew Bro. I want to thank you for signing up for the Setting Up a Zoom Classroom webinar. If you're watching this video, you're actually watching the replay, which is a result of 4 live sessions that I put together earlier this week. Boy, are we living in some crazy times right now. And you, probably a lot like us here at Evangel University, are probably in the process of trying to get your school online for the next few weeks, or maybe even through the end of the spring 2020 semester. I trust that the video you're about to see is going to help you to launch your online classroom strong and with confidence. So without further ado, guys, here's the video. This is what we're going to be going over today. So if you found your way over here from my YouTube channel, then you've probably already watched kind of the back-end techie getting your Zoom account set up. If not, you can go over to YouTube, search my name and the word Zoom, and you can watch that over there. In this presentation, we're going to be more or less talking about running the classroom. So we're going to look at a whole bunch of tools inside of the Zoom classroom and how they work. How you can use them here over the next few weeks, especially if you're part of a school that has gone fully online and you weren't at all online before, maybe you were partially online and now all of a sudden you're thrown into this mix of schools that's like, we got to find a way to support all of our students from a fully online functionality. Zoom is an amazing tool. I think you're going to see that here today. So guys, I'm Andrew Bro. I work full-time in information technology at Evangel University here in Springfield, Missouri, and I've spent the last at least 2 years helping lots of professors, doing lots of meetings inside of Zoom, doing webinars, things like that. I know our executive staff uses Zoom all the time for meeting. Our board uses it. It's a really, really great tool. I'm going to go through this presentation rather quickly because I'm just going to be sharing, just kind of some of the nuts and bolts of the interface and how things work. And I really want to get to the end so we can get to your questions. So I'm probably going to be going kind of fast. And if at any given point in time you've got a question on something, you can either write it down right away or even just drop it in the chat right away. And then when I get down to the end, I can scroll back through the chat. But it may be easier for you to just jot a note down. And then when I get to the end, you can just unmute your mic and you can jump in and ask the questions that you have. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. Here's what we're going to go over today. Scheduling your class, managing participants, screen sharing, using the whiteboard, and then as kind of a bonus, I'm going to show you some really cool stuff you can do if you have an iPad and Apple Pencil. I don't know if the features I'm going to show you on this, I don't know if they work on other tablets. I just know that I'm on a Mac and I have a tablet and it allows me to do some of these really cool things. And you might enjoy seeing what they can do. Then we'll kind of cover some frequently asked questions and then we'll do the live Q&A right after that. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. First, let's talk about scheduling your classes. So once you have a Zoom account and you've like attended Zoom, so you already have like the Zoom mini app on your device, once you log in, this is the screen that you are, this is what you're going to see on your screen right away when you go to either start a new meeting or schedule a meeting. So because it's different from just doing a basic meeting versus say, hey, we're in higher education or maybe elementary or secondary education, and you have classes that are specific at specific times of the day. It's different than just say, hey, launching a one-time meeting. This is something you're going to do over and over and over again throughout the week and throughout the rest of the semester. So what I'm showing you here is kind of how to manage that. So we can just click on the schedule, and then here we go. We can schedule the meeting. Of course, you could put the name of the class up here. The first time that it's going to meet, and then once you click the recurring button, I'll show you in a minute what happens there. I do recommend that you use your personal meeting ID for this, because if you have a personal meeting ID for this class and a specific password for that class that's going to stay, with that group of students, then every time that they go to get on Zoom to attend your class, they already have the login link. It doesn't have to change every single time. And then also, once again, you can decide if you want to have your video turned on or off. Do the participants have their video turned on or off when they join? Totally up to you, depending on the type of class you have. And, you know, if you don't want to have video on, that works. Now, Zoom has posted that they are preferring everyone use the computer audio right now because their phone lines are overwhelmed with everything else going on in the country right now. So yeah, just go ahead and keep that on computer audio. Just realized I ran out of water. And then of course, I'm gonna go ahead and drop mine over to iCal, but you can do an Outlook calendar or really any other calendar, or even just, you know, program this into your LMS. So you go ahead and click on, actually before you click there, I did the recurring meeting, and this is what it does. It says, remember to check recurrence or repeat in your calendar invitation. And what that means is once you go over to your calendar, whether this is your Outlook calendar, I'm just showing it here in iCal, you're actually going to set up the recurring stuff from inside of your calendar app. So for me, I just go in, click in, say how many times it's going to repeat, what days and times it's going to do it. Yeah, and once again, you do not have to invite the attendees from here, but we'll cover that in the next part. So then we'll talk about managing the participants, their audio, video, and chat. So as a host, you get two different views that you can look at inside of the Zoom interface. The first one, now if this was live right now, you would see my video right here. And then you would see your student videos up across the top. And this is called speaker view. And then gallery view, if you click on that little symbol right there in the Zoom interface, gallery view is going to show you all of your participants in a grid on the screen. Now, I believe it'll show you 9 at a time. It may show you 12, up to 12 at a time. But if you have more than that attending, then you kind of have to scroll through them, and it's only going to display the 12 or 9 or 12, whatever's on your screen at a time. All right. Once you move over top of the Zoom interface, it brings up this toolbar across the bottom. So you can, mute, unmute yourself. You can start or stop your live video. You can invite participants from right here in the screen, or you can manage your participants. So that's what's happening here. I've clicked the manage participants, and it pops up this little list on the side. You can mute all of your participants, and you can also decide whether or not they're allowed to unmute their microphones. So if you're with a lot of younger kids and they're unmuting their microphone without permission, as the presenter, you can lock it so that all of their mics are automatically muted. Of course, you can unmute all as well if you're interested in a little bit of chaos. That can be a little crazy because you start getting people talking over each other and things like that, but it is possible. And then if you click here on the chat, it's going to pull up your chat information over on the side. One of the questions I get a lot is, how do I manage that chat? Can people just chat to whoever they want? And if you click right here on the little menu on the bottom, you get the option to say nobody can chat, or people can only chat directly to the host, or everyone can chat publicly, which means they can chat privately to the host, or they can chat to the whole entire group. Or you can say the next level is everyone can chat publicly or privately. So that means you can also have students in your class that can now communicate just between the two of them. And obviously you can see where this would be really helpful in, say, a university setting or a doctoral or graduate setting where students need to collaborate while you're in the middle of doing a presentation. Now that allows that. All right, so let's get into screen sharing and talk about the difference between sharing just a specific window versus sharing an entire screen. So right now I am sharing with you just the PowerPoint. In a second, I'm going to change that, but right now I'm just sharing the PowerPoint. So if I do anything else on my computer, leave PowerPoint, go, check email, Facebook, do something over on the side, you would not see that happen. because the only thing that Zoom is allowed to see is that PowerPoint. But if you share your entire desktop, which I'm going to do right now, let's go ahead. I'm going to stop this share and I'm going to start up a new one. And I'm going to just share my entire desktop here. And now, as you can see, I can scroll through different screens and you can see everything that I'm doing on my screen at one time. So that's kind of the difference there between doing, say, just sharing your whole entire desktop versus sharing just a specific window. And that specific window right now, or at the time that I created this example, all I had open was Google Chrome. But you could have PowerPoint, you could have a Word file, you can have Excel, you could have any multiple number of windows open. Share any program that you want to on the screen just by going into this view. You also notice that we have the ability to do a whiteboard, which we're gonna play around with here in just a second. And then because I am on my Mac and I have my iPad with me, we also have the ability to share that as a screen. And we're gonna play around with that in just a minute. All right, so if you are in an individual window and you move to a different desktop to work on it, then as a presenter, you're gonna see this message at the top. It's gonna say your screen sharing is paused, and whatever was last being shared gets locked on the screen for all of your students. All right, now it's time to play with the whiteboard. So I hope you guys are ready to have some fun. I'm gonna share a whiteboard with you. All right, so this whiteboard is now being shared by everyone. And if you go ahead and move your mouse around, at the very top of the screen, you should see a menu pop up. Now, if you're on a tablet or a phone, there's a little circle button down towards the bottom. I think it's the bottom left. And it says, I think it says annotate. On the Mac or the PC screen, there's going to be a little drop down at the top, and I think there's something that says tools or webinar tools or something like that. Anyways, there's a menu up at the top. If whoever's first to find it, go ahead and throw it in the chat. But it allows you to annotate on this white screen, or on this whiteboard. And let's just have some fun, and you guys can just write something on the whiteboard. Oh, somebody else is writing right over top of me. Hello. All right, did everybody else find it? You can do all kinds of stuff here. You can draw. You can add text. Good, it looks like everybody's finding it. Awesome. And where this comes in, obviously, where this becomes really, really powerful is if you have something like an iPad or a tablet that has, what do you want to say, like a Wacom tablet or anything like that, is because now you can take and you can draw on the whiteboard much more precisely. All right, so I'm going to stop that share real quick. And we're going to take a look at the chat. Somebody said for Windows, it's under a drop-down menu on the top called View Options. Okay, and I think it's the same on the Mac as well. All right, let's see what is next here. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and show you now how I can share my iPad screen and why that is so powerful. All right, so now I am sharing my iPad screen with you. And what is really super powerful about this, I like this even better than using the whiteboard. It's a little bit difficult to use the whiteboard, as you saw, especially if you're trying to draw on the screen, unless you have like a Wacom tablet with a stylus that you can write on a Wacom tablet that just plugs in via USB. They can be kind of expensive as an input device, but this works really, really well. And since we're mirroring the iPad display, we have access to every single app on the iPad can be displayed up on the screen. So here we're just using GoodNotes. As you can see, I've already written something on this page, so we just grab in a new one. And let's try this again. Oh, I forgot my own name. So you can see just how super smooth that works. And once again, you have now access to every single one of your apps that's on your iPad. So you can even do your keynote and then do annotations inside of there, do your PowerPoint, and once again, use Apple Pencil to mark up that, mark up your Word files and all of that kind of stuff. And next, I'm going to go ahead and answer a lot of questions that have come in over the last couple of days. They've been the most popular questions. I'm going to answer those real quick, and then we're going to get to your questions. All right, so let's take a look. So one of the most popular questions that I have gotten from students is, or from professors who are looking to use Zoom is, do students need an account in order to join the class? And the answer to that is no. Unlike a lot of other platforms like Skype and WhatsApp, and there's all kinds of different systems out there, you have to have an account in order to use them. Zoom is more of a meeting platform or a webinar platform where only the host needs to have the account. Everybody else basically can join as a guest if they have that link. So no need for your students to go setting up accounts with Zoom. Do I have to use a calendar to schedule classes? Once again, no, you don't have to use the calendar. If you don't want to, if you prefer to keep your calendar some other way or to keep your schedule some other way, you do not have to use a digital calendar and store your schedule in there. You can put it into your LMS, or maybe you have a Happy Planner or something like that. Get a lot of people that use those as well. My wife loves them. Is there a limit on how many people can join the class? With a free account all the way through an enterprise account, max amount of people that can join your class is 100 unless you pay to tier up. And then I think the max is 10,000, but basic accounts are 500, 500 and then 1,000, but you can go as many as 10,000 people on Zoom at one time. But by default, everyone, regardless of whether or not you have a free account, you can go up to 100 people joining the class. Do I have to send the invites via email? No, you do not. Any place that you can copy and paste text is a place that you can share the meeting invites. You just copy the meeting invite, the meeting link, and you can put it in a Facebook message. You can put it in an email if you wanted to. You can put it in a Facebook group. You can drop it in your LMS, share it right within your course. Really easy. And then, is a password required to join a meeting? So as you saw today, we used a password to join, and I'm recommending that you use a password to join. But no, you do not have to have a password in order to join. You could just share out your unique meeting link or your meeting ID, I should say. But the reason you would not want to do that is that any number of people could just jump into a class with you, even if it's not at the right time. So if you have a specific password for each one of your classes, you'll be sure that the right students are in the room that they're supposed to be in. All righty, and let's go ahead and we're going to shut down that screen share. And now we're going to get to your questions. So for this, you guys, you can drop it down in the chat if you would like, but if you're really brave, you can go ahead and turn on your microphone and we can be talking face to face and you can ask me your questions. So what did we not cover today that you would like to know? Okay, so in order to do that, I think you would probably have to have two monitors in order to do it. So you would want the slides full screen on one monitor, and then your video can be full screen on the other monitor. So that's one way to do it. Another way that this can be done, and it takes a little bit of collaboration between the student and the professor. I did actually have somebody who said, hey, I teach ASL, or American Sign Language, is what I think that stands for. So my students need to be able to obviously see me making signs with my hands while they're also seeing a PowerPoint. And so in order to make that happen, you can, inside of the PowerPoint settings, you can tell it to run windowed, and you can just put it on half your screen. So a little bit easier to do on a PC, as this is the one thing. it's a little bit easier to do on a PC than on a Mac, is if you grab a screen and you pull it all the way to one side, it'll automatically take up half the screen. And then that way your students now have a space that they can make the video that you're watching. So like if you hover over top of my video right now, it should give you some little handles on the side, and you can drag that out and you can make my video larger. Well, actually, you probably won't do it right now because I'm not screen sharing. But while I'm screen sharing the PowerPoint, actually, let's try it real quick. Okay, so now that I'm screen sharing, you should see my video over on the right-hand side. And it should have little handles on it. And if you grab a hold of those handles, you can now drag that out and make it larger or smaller. I usually just keep it minimized when I'm presenting. Oh, so yeah, if you turn on, Bonnie, if you turn on that feature where it like cuts out the background and you can throw a picture and stuff in, you just have to go back into the settings. And actually, let me see here. I think it's actually under video settings, virtual background, and you're going to say none. So down at the bottom of the screen, when you're presenting, right next to where your video is, it gives you an option to say video settings, and then you click on virtual background, and then you click it to say none, and now it just shows everything that's in the background behind you. Really, that feature doesn't work very well with the virtual background. It doesn't work very well unless you're on a very powerful computer and you have a green screen behind you. Then it actually works pretty well. But if you don't have like a gaming PC or, probably like at least a $1,000 machine that has probably got a dedicated graphics card and things like that in it, that one doesn't work very well. That's a very good question. I've actually shared videos through Zoom before. I don't remember them being choppy at all, but then again, I'm only seeing it from my end. I'm not seeing it from the view, student view. That would definitely be something you would want to test out before trying it. Just from my experience with screen sharing, things do tend to kind of look a little bit choppy. There are ways to drop files right within Zoom so that when you play them, they're playing out of there, but I've never actually used that feature. Oxford Learning, yes, you can purchase more hosts. In fact, if you get with your IT people from your school, you can actually set it up as a domain account, which means everybody can just log in. Like if it was for us, we would just all log in with our @evangel.edu email addresses, and then you can use it as a single sign-on app. So I would look into that. So it's basically site licensing through Zoom. Do you have a, no, I do not have a green screen behind me now. So Paul asked if I currently have a green screen. What I have behind me is, it's called muslin. It's just a photography background that I threw behind me. And so this is something you can do. I know a lot of people are kind of self-quarantining, or maybe they're going to be teaching out of their home. So in front of me right now, I have like 2 big soft boxes, and I have like an overhead light over me. You don't need all that kind of stuff. But what I would recommend that you do at the very least is to put a lamp on the desk in front of you. So, if I'm standing here, I'm gonna put a lamp probably about this far away. It can be a fairly low powered 60-watt bulb. That helps to light up your face a little bit so that the students will be able to see you better. And then behind you, or like, wherever you're sitting, you've got a bookcase or something behind you. You can just take a flat sheet and just throw that up, like a solid colored flat sheet, throw that up in the background, and it just kind of hides all the clutter behind you and makes it a little bit easier to, especially you have students who get distracted by all the knickknacks on a shelf behind you or something like that. Or maybe you want to present from your kitchen, you don't want them to see the sink full of dishes behind you or something like that. So yeah, just get creative and throw something back there. Oh, That's a good one. I'm not exactly sure how you would manage that, because if you have the two students inside of the room at the same time, they're going to see each other, and if they turn their mics on, they're also going to hear each other and you as well. So those would have to be separate Zoom meetings. I'm using this guy right here. It is definitely a luxury. Once again, this belongs here to my school. Typically, I'm just using my microphone off of my camera. And if I'm not using that, I have a headset that I can wear. It's just a simple gaming headset that I picked up for my Nintendo Switch. And you can put that on. And that way, you know, you don't get a lot of echo and stuff when you're talking. But I use a Logitech C920, and it actually has a pretty decent microphone on it. Right now, I am using a Blue Yeti USB microphone. They're around $150, and they're really, really awesome. If you can afford one, definitely buy one. You will not be disappointed. Any other questions that I missed? Does somebody want to be brave and chat with me? Go ahead and turn your mic on and ask a question.
I do have a question, Andrew.
Okay.
Okay, I'm seeing on my screen all the people that are logged in. I have 3 of us have just our picture. One has her video going, and the others have names.
Uh-huh.
How do you do just the names?
So the people who have pictures on there, so watch, if I turn my video off, you'll see that my picture shows up. So the people who have pictures have Zoom accounts, and they have placed their picture in as a placeholder. So if you want people, you know, if you want to just be able to see people's names, everybody in the class that has joined would have to not be logged in with their Zoom account. They would have to be logged in as a guest. And then just whatever name they put in as a guest would show up there as the name on the screen. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hello, Andrew.
Yeah.
I was the one who asked about the fact that I would like to schedule the staff as well as the students around. What I wanted to know was, is there a way where I can manage all the scheduling, but make them alternate hosts? I buy more host accounts on my account, but then can I make them alternate hosts so that the host is the one who's got the controls of the meeting at least at any given time?
Ooh, that is a good question, and I do not know the answer to that one. I will tell you that Zoom's website is absolutely incredible. They have lots and lots of information out there. So if you go to support.zoom.com, I believe it is, so support.zoom.com, and start typing in that as a question, anybody else who's had that question will come to the top, and you'll be able to see how they got answered.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, that's what I would recommend for that one. I am familiar with a lot of other platforms, and I will be honest with you, no, I've not found anything that I like as much as I like Zoom. I did hear about one today, and it's kind of a rival, and I've not checked it out yet, so I don't know for sure. One of the things I know that they do that Zoom does not is 4K video. I don't think we're there yet. Most people are not watching video on 4K, and 4K takes a ton of bandwidth when you're streaming it. So I don't think that that's a selling point for me. Also, for a free account with this other platform, and I apologize, I don't remember the name of it, but you're limited to 25 students, where with Zoom you can have 100 for 40 minutes. The other one is 25 students unlimited. But honestly, like there's nothing in doing this presentation and promoting Zoom. There's nothing in it for me because I'm not affiliated with Zoom in any way. I've never talked to anyone at Zoom. I just fell in love with their platform and started creating YouTube videos about the platform, and tons and tons of people just started asking me more questions. And so I decided to put this presentation together to try to help everybody out during a time of need. So that's what's going on here. Okay, very good. So once the meeting gets started, you can go down to, let's see here. I'm gonna look at my screen. Yeah. So you can go down to that bottom menu that shows up across the screen that has your mute, your start and stop video and all that kind of stuff. And there is a spot there where you can record. Now, I recommend that before you do that, make sure that you have set up where is that recording going. So like if you just let it go by default, Zoom hides it somewhere deep inside of your system files. And it's, yeah, it can be a nightmare to try and find it. So here on our campus, because we use networked devices, so when people actually log into their laptops or their computers, their profile is really out on a server somewhere. It's not on that computer. So by default, Zoom tries to put it inside of your user files, and it may be, depending on how your network is set up, the file may be trying to save out to a network location, and that doesn't work very well at all. So you want to make sure that it's pointing to a folder that's actually on your computer. So if you're on a Windows device and you're on a school network and it's a school device, more than likely your profile and your My Documents and anything that you do inside of your profile more than likely lives on the server. So you may need to check with your IT guy. Now, Karen, you said you were on a Mac, so that probably won't be happening that way on your Mac. You can just point to, say, your documents folder or your desktop or wherever you want it to land, and it'll go right there. But on a PC, it's a whole different world out there. So I prefer the Mac.
Yeah. Now, Andrew, can you just talk through the steps, like the basic steps of when you do start the meeting, you manually press record, and then and just like talk us through how to do a record.
Sure. So what I did for this meeting, so we actually are recording this meeting here today. So what I did is when I went through the setup, I told it to auto record the meeting as soon as I launched it. The main reason I did that is because I did my first presentation yesterday. I didn't have all of my slides ready, but I was just like, you know what, ready or not, I'm going to do it. And I think we had like 10 people on at the 11 o'clock hour. It was messy. I learned a lot. But I totally forgot to go down there and hit the record button. So none of it got recorded, which I'm kind of, now I'm kind of glad didn't get recorded. It was mostly a Q&A. The whole entire time was a Q&A. It did go really well. And I think everybody got a lot out of it. I learned a lot. So if nothing else, I learned a lot. Hopefully I didn't scare people away. They'll probably start deleting me off of YouTube. They're like, that guy's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would recommend, I mean, if you want your meetings recorded, I would recommend telling it to just auto start recording as soon as you launch your meeting. Because even if you're using the free tools, if you're using this for, 30 to 40 minutes of that classroom interaction, in place of that classroom interaction, you can do a lot inside of a 40-minute session. Another thing you can do, don't tell Zoom I told you guys this, but another thing you can do is you can do the class for 30 minutes, tell everyone, hey guys, we're taking a 5-minute break. You can end the meeting, and because you're using the same meeting ID and the same passcode every single time you launch a meeting, you just let everybody know, just re-click on the link in 5 minutes and rejoin class.
Oh,
Sit
that's
down
good.
for 5 minutes, head off to the bathroom, grab a coffee, come back, relaunch the meeting, and I mean, you can do that all day long.
Oh, Andrew, that's a great idea.
So,
That's good. Because I had a student who said, could I take a bathroom break? And I said, oh, you could, not a problem, but I didn't think that as a class we could have done that.
Yeah, you sure can.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you looking for a screen recording software? Is that kind of what you were thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I'd seen recommendations. I don't have it in front of me now, but like Screen Magic, Screentastic. I can't remember what it was called now. Screen Grab.
Screen Grab. Yep. So there's things like Snagit out there.
Yeah.
Are you on a Mac or a PC?
Yeah, Mac.
On a Mac. Okay, so on a Mac, I will tell you right now, the very best piece of software for screen capture is called ScreenFlow.
Okay.
So look up ScreenFlow screen capture software. It's about I think it's around $130, $120, $130 program, but it is absolutely incredible. The tools in there they're super easy to use. Their website, they've been around for quite a long time. They are not available on a PC, only on Macs, and I like programs like that because they're very, very focused, and they make things that work really, really well on that one device. So I don't personally have it right now, but I've used their demo for years. I've taught off of their demo program and stuff for years. You can download the demo for free. You just cannot export without it saying ScreenFlow like across the screen, or it says like this is a demo version. So in order to unlock that and make it go away, you do have to pay for it. But highly, highly recommend that as a screen capture program.
I just uploaded teaching resources for non-dummies. It's a document that I created for myself, and in it, sleaze, I don't want to insult you. In it is how to record over established PowerPoint, how to do voice recording. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that right within a PowerPoint. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and also on your Mac, you could be aware that you automatically have QuickTime as well.
Right. Yeah.
So if you've not used that before, you can say, new QuickTime screen recording, and then you can just use iMovie. So if you're looking for a free option, that's the best thing to do on a Mac. The big thing that a screen capture program is going to give you over something like that is, like I was talking about ScreenFlow. If I have multiple screens, ScreenFlow will actually record every screen separately, plus it will record your video. And then when you edit, you can actually say, okay, at this point in time, show this screen. At this point in time, show my face. And I mean, you can get really, really involved with the editing. It's like a professional video editor. So if that kind of scares you, getting that deep into it, I would just use QuickTime and everything you do on your screen, and then just pull that into iMovie, trim it up to where you want it to be, export it as a movie, and, post it into your LMS. It works really, really well.
My question is, can I use Zoom video and also use a webcam to write out notes or problems? I'm a chemistry teacher and I'm trying to figure out how to do this online.
Yeah. So one of the great things is when you actually launch a new share, is you can then go over to advanced. So there's like 3 different tabs on the sharing, and one of those tabs says advanced, and it allows you to share a second camera. So you could set up a camera on a whiteboard, or like you said, you were doing chemistry. So let's say you have a second camera set up with, with your chemistry lab and everything right there. And then you can actually share that as another video source. So what you should be seeing right now is, so long as you have it turned on up in the upper left-hand corner there, you should see a thumbnail of my image of me talking, and then you also have that PowerPoint in the background. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So if you were sharing a second camera using that share, then in place of this PowerPoint, this is where you would see the second camera, but then the students would still see your primary camera up here in the corner, the right-hand corner of the screen.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So yeah, it'll probably, it'll take a little bit of practice, a little trial and error, and test it out. You can always have, somebody join you there in the classroom with another device, or if you have 2 different devices, you can even join from a phone. And actually this comes up a lot as people say, how do I know what my student is seeing? I want to make sure that, because what you see, you're not really sure what the student's seeing. So I just join from another device, like a phone, make sure that the audio on it is muted, and make sure that the volume is turned all the way down so I don't get an audio loop through my microphone. And then I'll just set that over to the side and then join the class as a guest on that device. And now at any given point in time, I can glance over at that screen and I know exactly what the students are seeing.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I hope that was helpful for you. All right. Anybody else have a question?
Andrew, I just wanted to make a comment. one of the things about sharing the video, if you're writing on, say, a whiteboard that you have or something like that, is sometimes the webcams will invert. They do like a mirrored version of the capture. So it's, again, probably one of those things that you just want to test before you do it. There is, in the settings, if you go into the video settings in Zoom, you can enable a mirroring effect on the webcam.
Correct.
And that way it won't appear as if you're writing backwards or something like that. So you probably just, again, just one of those things that you want to test, because depending on how you have your like default webcam settings, it may be set to mirror your image. So Andrew, right now, raise your right hand. Okay. So it looks like, as I'm looking at your video, it actually looks like your right hand. So it's not mirror, but that's the thing. Like sometimes it will mirror it. So you do want to just probably test that before you start writing on the board and it shows up backwards for your students.
Right on. Yeah, and that's a really important thing to point out there, Mark. Thanks for sharing that, because by default, some computers will automatically flip it for you. And then when you get into Zoom, you're thinking you have to mirror your image, and you do, and it actually flips it around backwards. So the fastest way to test this is just to take a piece of paper and like write something on it, write your name on it, then stand in front of your camera and hold it up right here. And if you can read it correctly, then you've got it set up correct. So that way your students are going to see things the correct way. Thanks for sharing that. All right. Anybody else have a question, something I didn't cover today that you want to know before we go? If not, I know everybody's got really busy days ahead of them. You can always reach out to me, either through my YouTube channel, leave a comment on any of my videos over on YouTube. You can send a direct message to me through my Facebook page. It's just my name and add YouTuber on it. So facebook.com/AndrewBroYouTuber, and it'll take you right over to my Facebook page where you can instant message me there. Also, you should now have my email address if you signed up for the webinar. I know some of you are people from here at Evangel. So you probably got on because I sent you the link, but everybody else, you guys signed up. So you have an email address you can now respond to if you have other questions that I can address later. Well, guys, that concludes the webinar video that I recorded. But before you go, if you found this video helpful, if it's going to help you to launch online faster and with more confidence, then please make sure to share the link that is down in the description. Share that link with a friend, with a teacher friend, or somebody you know that is also trying to launch online and get their classes online. Pay it forward. Let them be able to have access to the same tools that you're going to be successful with. So just copy and paste that link over to a friend. They can sign up. They need to make sure they get signed up. Don't share the video. Don't actually share the video link out for them, because otherwise they're going to miss out on a lot of other exclusive content. So yeah, stay tuned. I've got lots more videos coming out, including one coming soon that is from the student view, something that you can share with every one of your students so that when you launch your Zoom sessions, they will know how to be good students and attend class and share their screen if they need to, mute their mic when they need to, and things like that. So thanks again. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please take a second and subscribe. And I look forward to sharing some more videos with you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.